Let's just be real for a second. You don't need a gym to train like a fighter. Now, obviously, if you want to fight professionally, you need a gym. You need a coach, sparring partners, a structured training camp, the whole fucking thing, right? You need the whole package. But that's not most people, right? Most people listening to this, they're not full time athletes. They're full time humans with jobs, kids, businesses, bills, responsibilities, you name it, right? And if that's you, you're in the right place, my friend, because this episode is for the person who doesn't have 2 hours a day to train, but still wants to feel like an absolute fucking savage, right? It's for the person who wants to stay sharp, stay disciplined, stay in shape, and use Muay Thai as the tool to do it. And if that's your goal, you don't need a fancy gym. You need structure, you need mindset, and you need a system that you can stick to.
This is the Muay Thai Guy podcast with your host, Sean Fagan. From world-class training to high-performance living, this show is your weekly dose of Muay Thai, mindset, fitness, and real talk. Whether you're a fighter, coach, or just want to train like one, you're in the right place.
Welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, welcome to the Muay Thai Guy podcast. I'm Sean Fagan, retired professional fighter, world traveling Nak Muay coach, entrepreneur, husband, dad, and someone who still loves the sport and the art as much as ever before. I've trained in top gyms in Thailand. I fought in front of thousands, but the truth is the hardest, most impactful, and most transformative training that I've ever done was by myself, was solo in my garage, in freezing cold basements on busted fucking heavy bags, without a coach, without teammates, just me and the work. If you're hyped that the podcast is back and you want to help me keep it alive, the best way to support it is to leave a 5-star review and just shoot me a message on Instagram at the Muay Thai Guy. But enough of that. Let's fucking jump in. Now, I want to take you back to one of the biggest moments of my fight career. Not because it was on the biggest stage, but because of what it taught me. It was my first amateur title at Madison Square Garden. And here's the crazy part. I didn't really have a coach. I didn't really have much of a team. I had a couple sparring partners, but no one consistent. No one was really holding pads for me just on occasion, and no one crafting the perfect game plan for me, right? No strength coach mentoring me or monitoring my macros, none of that shit, right? What I did have was a full-time job, a brutal fucking commute, right? We're driving down to Westchester County from upstate New York, a beat up heavy bag in my garage, and the same excuses that most people use to not train. But I made it fucking work because I built my own system. I trained before work, after work, on the weekends. I ran in the mornings, drilled on the bag at night. I studied tape, and I created my own version of my fight camp. And I ended up knocking my opponent out in the 5th round TKO in front of my family and friends at Madison Square Garden, where I watched the Rangers grow up or play while I was growing up. Now that fight essentially became the foundation for my heavy bag blueprint program. Did you know that? Right? Because that win, it proves something massive to me, that you don't need the perfect conditions to train, that you don't necessarily need a gym. You need standards. You need a fucking plan. You need to stop bullshitting yourself because the work still has to get done one way or another, whether someone's holding your hand or not. So let me just keep it real. Training solo sounds sexy, right? Until you actually have to fucking do it. When there's no one watching you, when there's no one holding pads or screaming combos at you, when you're exhausted, when you're tired and the garage is fucking freezing and you've got a million other things to do. That's when most people tap out. That's not because they're lazy, not because they don't want it, but because they've never learned how to coach themselves. They think solo training is a backup plan. Do it if I can't get to the gym type of thing, if you will. But I learned over the years this. Solo training isn't a compromise. It's a fucking superpower, right? Because when you learn how to push yourself with no audience, no pressure, and no external motivation, you build something that's stronger than muscle. Grit, ownership, that fucking inner dog who doesn't wait to be told what to do. He just fucking goes and does it. And when you walk into a gym with that type of energy, you stand out. You lead. You're respected because you show up ready, sharp, ready to learn, and fucking dangerous as hell. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying never go to a gym, because if your goal is to fight at a high level, you absolutely need a team. You need sparring partners. You need coaching. You need real fight experience. That's just the truth, all right? But most people listen to this, you're not prepping for Lupini Stadium, right? You're trying to stay sharp, stay fit, stay connected to Muay Thai while working a career, raising a family, or juggling a business. And for that, training solo is the best option you have. Here's why. First off, you control your schedule. You don't need to wait for class to start or hope someone's free to hold pads for you or that you get a good pad holder in the first place. Number two is you build insane accountability. There's no one to impress. It's just you and the fucking grind, my friend. Number three is that you sharpen your mind. This way, when you're shadowboxing or hitting the heavy bag without direction, you're forced to think critically. What's my range? How's my footwork looking? Am I fading left when I throw my right kick? How's my check left hook looking, right? You become your own coach. You become that much more aware. And lastly, you make Muay Thai a lifestyle. It's not about class times or punching in and out of training, right? It's about being someone who trains no matter what, anywhere, anytime. That's a weapon most people will never develop. All right, so now that I got that out, let's talk about what solo training sessions actually look like or should actually look like. And look, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I'm not going to tell you to do some fancy ass footwork drill that you saw on Instagram or try a 10-move combo off the spinning elbow and flying knees and tornado kicks or whatever the fuck, right? If you've only got an hour, I'd rather you spend it mastering the basics, but with real fucking focus and intention. So here's what I do when I want a full body session that hits conditioning, technique, and mindset, all without needing anyone else around. First, I'll start off with 10 minutes to get my body warm. That's usually jump rope, some type of dynamic movement, light mobility for my hips, my shoulders, my ankles, and then I'll slide right into some shadow boxing. Shadow boxing sometimes I'll use as a warm-up, but once I want to set intention, the first round, I'm just kind of moving, right? No strikes, just footwork and staying light on my feet. Then I'll add my guards, right? My long guard, my shell, a little bit of head movement, feeling where my hands are. Then I'll slowly add some defense, some rhythm, the Thai swag I like to call it, a few jabs, a teep, and it's all about building up like a real fight would. After that, I'll shadow box like solidly for 5 rounds, and each round has a different focus, whether it's footwork, defense, sharp jabs, using my lead side, combo, flows, and then maybe the last one I'll simulate the fight. The fight. Wow, I can't even talk sometimes. Apologies. It's been a while since I've done this podcast, right? But I'll be throwing fakes, feints, changing speeds, changing angles, not just looking good in the mirror, but feeling like I'm actually in a fight, visualizing, right? If you've got a heavy bag, I'll move over to that next, right? I love hitting my heavy bag. It's the number one training partner that you have. It will show up rain or shine. I'll do some power rounds on that typically. Really sitting down on my punches, really driving through with my kicks. Then I'll really switch into more movement-based rounds, working on angles, working on footwork. Maybe 2 rounds where I just go fucking nonstop with combinations, trying to simulate that 3rd round pressure, trying to set up fakes, feints. And after that, I'll hit a quick circuit, right? Maybe it's body weight only, if that's all I have access to. Jump squats, push-ups, knees on the bags, speed kicks, fast punches, you name it. Something that really spike the heart rate. Think short, nasty fight finisher kind of intensity to crush the rest of that heavy bag session. Then I slow it all down, right? I cool down, I stretch, I breathe, I reflect. Okay, this is important. It often goes overlooked rather. I ask myself, what did I do well? What kind of fell off? What needs more work? That's it, right? 1 hour, no gym, no coach, no bullshit excuses. You don't need more than that to get better. You just need to show up and train with intent. Now, what about motivation, right? Because let's be honest, one of the hardest parts about solo training isn't the actual training itself. It's the consistency, the motivation, right? The days where your body's tired and your brain's coming up with every fucking excuse under the sun. I'll just train tomorrow, or I'll do something light today, or I just don't have time. It's not like I have a fight coming up or anything, right? Does that sound familiar? Here's what I've realized. You will never always be motivated. You will not feel like training every single day, right? But the people who stay consistent, they've learned how to train even when they're not feeling it. They've built their habits. They've simplified their sessions. They've attached their training to something deeper than just aesthetics or performance. For me, it was about being the kind of man who does the hard shit when no one else is watching. That's what Muay Thai taught me, right? And it's funny because once I stopped waiting for motivation and just started training anyway, guess what happened? Motivation just fucking showed up after the work. Go fucking figure, right? Now, another question I get all the time is this. Sean, how do I know if I'm improving if I'm training alone? Great question, and here's the truth. If you're not tracking it, you're just fucking guessing, right? You're just throwing haymakers blind, right? You don't need spreadsheets and you don't need apps. You just need self-awareness. Here's what I recommend. Pick 3 metrics that you care about, right? Simple, 3 metrics. For example, conditioning, right? How many rounds can you do at a fight pace? That's a pretty good standard to kind of figure out from. Another metric to take track of is maybe your technique sharpness, right? Film yourself shadowboxing or doing the heavy bag at least once a week. Filming yourself, even if you're not an influencer, is super important because you can see things that you normally wouldn't be able to see otherwise. And then lastly, maybe another metric is strength, right? How many push-ups, how many squats, how many pull-ups can you do, right? Set a standard. Write it down, say it out loud, what the fuck ever. Just know what good actually looks like for you. Then review it weekly, right? Ask yourself every single week, am I improving? Did I actually show up? Am I sharper than last week? Am I stronger than last week? Do I have a better understanding of my fighting style than last week? Journaling is one of the best things that I recommend that most people kind of just shoo away like it's a foo-foo method. Journal, write things down. I'm telling you, it changes the game. All right, let me switch gears real quick and let's talk to the beginners. All right, maybe you're not a fighter. Maybe you've never thrown a proper kick, but something about Muay Thai drew you in. Maybe you saw a highlight reel of Ball Cow. Maybe you saw a crazy Pornsene fight on YouTube. Maybe you're just sick of boring fucking workouts and want something that makes you feel alive, right? Whatever brought you here, welcome. You don't need to be a fighter to train like one. You don't need to go to Thailand to throw your first combo. You don't need to earn your way into this. All you need is a space, a system, and a standard. And guess what? You already have 2 of those. You have a space, even if it's in your living room, and you have the standard. You're here listening to this, trying to fucking improve. Now it's time to get a system. And that's why I built my programs, because once I was in your shoes, right? Believe it or not, I was just Googling drills, watching breakdowns on YouTube tutorials, wondering if I was even doing anything right. Don't waste your time like I did. Start with a proven plan and then build from there. So there's 3 pillars of solo training that actually works. If I had to break it all down into a framework, something that you could actually write on your wall and live by, it would be this: simplicity, right? That's number 1. Don't try to do everything. Master the jab, master the teep, the cross, the roundhouse kick, one technique, one combo at a time. Stack small wins and don't complicate the process. Then focus on structure. Have a plan before you train. Don't just see how you feel, right? Even if it's 3 rounds of shadow boxing and 10 minutes of core work, know what you're showing up for. And lastly, have a standard, a high standard. The biggest trap in solo training is letting your efforts slide. One lazy session turns into a lazy week, turns into a lazy month. Set your standard and stick to it. And I want to harp on something as well about how solo training effectively makes you a better human, because this part is personal. Solo training taught me how to lead myself. It taught me how to take responsibility, how to work hard without praise, how to show up without needing someone to tell me to. And once I internalized that, everything changed. I became a better business owner, a better partner, a better husband, a better father, because I started to trust myself. When you train solo, and I mean really fucking train, not just half-ass yourself through a workout, you learn how to hold yourself to a higher standard. And if that standard doesn't just live in the gym either, it follows you around. That's what makes Muay Thai different. It's not just about punches and kicks and elbows and knees and all that cool shit, right? It's about learning how to handle discomfort and keep moving forward anyway. Now, if you want this, if you really fucking want this and get the type of results you want, here's what I recommend, all right? Let's say you're bought in. You're like, Sean, I'm ready to take my training seriously. I want to stop fucking winging it, and I want to start training like it actually matters. Here's what I recommend. If you're brand new and want to build a shredded, fucking ripped, athletic, fighter-style body at home, go to thefightersbody.com. Now, if you got a heavy bag and want a full roadmap for solo training, improving your fight IQ, including techniques, combos, conditioning, and mindset, go to heavybagblueprint.com. Now, if you don't know where to start, you could also shoot me a DM on Instagram at the Muay Thai Guy with the word champ, and I'll help you figure it out and figure out what program fits best for your lifestyle. So I appreciate you tuning in today. If you think this helped you rethink the way that you approach your training, specifically your solo training, do me a favor and leave me a solid 5-star review on the Spotify or Apple store. It helps the podcast reach that much more people and keeps me fired up to keep fucking going. So if you ever want to train with me in person, we've got Muay Thai retreats coming up in Costa Rica. I'll be over in Thailand a little bit, so maybe I'll bump into a couple people over there. But check out MuayThaiVacations.com to learn more. And also get pumped up for the next week's episode, because we're going to be diving into the real reason you're bored with your training and how you're going to fix it. It's going to be a fucking big one, so don't miss it. And until then, stay sharp, stay savage, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Muay Thai Guy podcast with Sean Fagan. If you're ready to train like a fighter, live with your purpose, and level up every part of your life, DM the word champ to @the_Muay_Thai_Guy on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe, share the show, and leave a review. Stay sharp, stay consistent, and keep showing up like a fighter.